Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter, and our guest today is King Carfagno, and this is Smart Business Moves.
Yay!
Good. It's awesome to see you here today.
Yeah.
We were thinking that we would be seeing you here Monday, but I dropped the ball. And I didn't do some of the logistical stuff right. And so Liz
me.
and
I had no idea. I got a message from you guys.
I know.
You coming on the call? I'm like, call? What call?
So sorry, Ken.
I'm like, but I'm flexible. I'll be there when you need me. Wednesday, okay. I'm there.
Well,
awesome.
We're super happy to have you.
Oh, thank you for inviting me back. I enjoyed being on a few times during the pandemic. We had a chance to chat.
Yeah.
We were doing this a lot during the pandemic. We were doing this every day during the pandemic.
Mm.
It felt like there wasn't much else to do.
Did we? We didn't do it on Friday, did we?
We did it on Friday for a while, and then we said, okay, well, let's drop Friday. But we started off. You made me do it 5 days a week. I was like,
I don't even know what I'm thinking. Of course, we were doing it on Friday. That's when I almost died. Was on a Friday.
You were in the car, with the windows like.
Is there a story here? Is there a story here that needs to be told? Because I've never heard the almost dead story.
Her phone stopped working because it was so hot in the car. The phone overheated.
Oh gosh, really?
I was so hot, but I was trying to fake it.
And I was like trying to dial 911 and trying to get first responders.
So it was like 106 degrees. And you have like you're sweating below your neck, but since you're only on the video for here, you look good.
No, I didn't look good. I was hot. I was sweaty. It wasn't good. Hey, Liz. Hey, Linda. Oh, smoky Northern California.
They got a lot of fires out there now, don't they?
Yeah, same as Colorado, right? Lots of smoke everywhere.
Wow, that is tough.
Hey, Linda, if you saw that we added you to something called, what's it called, Tom? Base Camp. I'll be talking to you about that later. You got work to do, girl.
So what are we going to be talking about today?
This is the mystery box. I think we're all going to find out in a minute.
Well, this is leadership this week. And I put what Ken was going to talk about kind of into one little sentence. I'm going to try and find it here. I sent it to you, Tom. I was like, oh, this is good. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Kind of like balance, right?
Didn't I?
Yeah, life, balancing commitments and personal wellness. And I said, that's awesome. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Me too, yeah. Well, you're kind of making a good point there, Ken, that one of the leadership habits is to always be learning, right? And to be looking for opportunities for more learning, more growth.
Yeah. I think if are you kicking off this is halfway through the leadership week. You've done a few other topics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to talk about leadership, I mean, you start with leading yourself, right? So self-leadership. And I think that's what this is, because maybe it's just me, but I run into a lot of cleaning owners that are completely frazzled and overwhelmed because they have a plate that's too full. Did you ever hear like in the Mike Michalowicz Profit First book? And you guys have read that, right?
Yeah.
So he does the example of the plate sizes. Like, why are so many people overweight now? It's a fantastic. It's so interesting. Like back 100 years ago, the average plate size was like 9 inches. And he does this in the book.
Yeah.
And people will succumb to Parkinson's law. They will consume whatever is given to them in time or money. Yeah, me too, right? So they give them a 9-inch plate. They eat 9 inches worth of food, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
But the average plate size, if I'm correct, I think from like the 50s to like lately in the past 10, 20 years, it's like 13 inches now. And so if you take a look at that increase in food, it perfectly correlates with the increases. Yeah,
wow,
right. It perfectly correlates to the amount of like the percentage. Like you look at the obesity like charts.
Yeah.
And I think that we have like all this technology stuff. I'm just going to dive right in because I had a major breakthrough last month. And so let's just see where this goes. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. It's so think about like that plate size with like all the commitments we have too, not just like eating, because that's just one place where many of us are probably, wishing that we could do better. Like how are we taking care of ourselves? Like personal wellness is a topic we're going to talk about. Well, I had this awesome opportunity to take one of my sons up to the Adirondacks and go camping for the week at a really cool like Christian father-son camp. And it's 5 days long. He's 8 years old. I've gotten to take each of my sons there. Family and balance. I mean, family is the reason why I do anything in business. And so I'm never going to let business overtake my why for why I'm even doing it. And so, but when I get up there, let's see where I have it. I got this thing lying around. Where is it? It's like this device. Looks like this. I don't know. Do you guys have? Is it just me, or does anyone else have one of these?
I have one. I have one.
Oh my gosh!
I've got one
Liz,
laying around somewhere.
Liz, you got,
oh, here it is.
Oh my gosh, Tom, Liz, that's incredible. You guys, this is like purple unicorns. All three of us have one. I'm mind blown. So, yeah, you don't warn them. Ken's a goofball. So I go to camp, and I'm like, "There's no service." Okay, this could be a little nerve-wracking at first. And so I'm like, okay, where is the one rock at the camp over the lake where if you like kind of balance on one leg, kind of like Karate Kid style, you can kind of put your phone and get a bar. And I'm like, why would I do that? I'm with my son for the week. We got so much stuff going on that I'm just gonna throw this thing on airplane mode. And I at first I just feel like icky because there's like all these pressures kind of still hitting me. And then one by one, because I put my phone away, one by one, they just started falling off. And I felt like I was just, I won't say a kid again, but I just feel like I was just like, I have no responsibilities. I'm just hanging with my son at the lake. There's no one trying to reach me. Well, probably were, but I couldn't answer it. And I just didn't realize like how much like these little things as they fell off, like all that anxiety that I was carrying around, all that burden I was just carrying around, kind of like you're wearing a jacket with lead weights in it. And as soon as I was on that airplane mode, it's like one lead weight fell off, and I just felt lighter and more alive. And I'm just connecting with nature, with my son, like feet in the water, feet on the sand. We're in a boat, and it's just like everything connective wise, like just connected to the environment. Me as a Christian, just connected with God to a different level, like everything, and with my son, like nothing was impeding that. And I left that week. As soon as I got out of camp, I'm like, okay, how am I going to handle this phone thing? And so I'll just like turn it on in stages. And it's like, I'm like, no. But I left camp, and this is maybe something we could just chat about with one word. The word was simplicity. How can I just make my life simple? Like, why do we take all this stuff on? Why can't we just look at each of our areas of our life and say, well, how do I simplify this area? Because God bless you, someone to sneeze. How do I simplify this area so that I can do this more? Or how do I simplify this? I mean, I don't know if that hits you. Maybe have you guys, either of you, experienced a time where you just unplugged to that kind of level recently?
I don't think so. Not recently.
No, it's probably pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I help out with Boy Scouts and find myself sleeping in the woods from time to time, and sometimes we're places. And truly, if I could get bars, I probably would be on the phone, but there's no service. So, it's forced, but it is different. It's a different mindset. And there is a certain peace that comes with that. It's like,
oh yeah,
wow, this is kind of cool. And it takes a minute to kind of, okay, well, what am I going to do with myself now? And it's not, you have to kind of sink into it.
I'm I don't know ages, and I'm not good at ages, and I don't want to guess. But you guys each remember a time. I remember a time when I didn't have a cell phone. I mean, now the phone is, because we're talking about self-leadership, we're talking about balance. There's a point to all this. I really think this is all connected. And that's the buzzword here is we're all connected, right? We're so connected that everything that we ever possibly do is, didn't you feel smarter without your smartphone, David Kaiser? Amen to that. But like everything we ever need, they can all reach us here wherever we are. Like in the bathroom, they can get a hold of us. That's not weird to you? Like I think about
not me.
In the shower. Okay, Liz, you told me on a podcast interview that you've got waterproof.
Totally kidding.
Waterproof.
You know I do.
She has waterproof earbuds that she can listen to podcasts and audiobooks in the shower. But if it's on your phone, someone could call you. Hi, it's Liz. Hey, what's that sound in the background? Oh, just ignore that. Right? I mean, there's a visual, but I mean, there was a time where we didn't have these devices connected to us, and you had to like actually wait until you got to an office to answer people's requests. But now they can reach you wherever you're at, and I just think I see that there's an uptick in so many like emotional and mental illnesses. I think they're attached to all this.
Yeah.
So I don't know which direction you want to go from here, but I wanted to share that story. I'm not sure if there's anyone that's connecting, that's listening, and they have any questions on this, but I just know when I took that phone on airplane mode for 5 days, I have not felt that free, that much peace, that much connectivity to myself, to God, to my environment, to my son. In like it's well before COVID, and it was like. It's like when you can push the reset button on your phone and it clears off all the cache and all the things that are running in the background. When you hit that reset and it reboots, it's basically what I did. I reset everything. And then when I came out of that, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to intentionally allow back into my life? Because I looked at everything completely different. And I've been very careful. I'm like, I don't want to go back to a place where I'm just putting more weights on this vest I'm wearing. I don't want to be. So that's something that really impacted me.
So how have you taken that and moved forward with it? I mean, we've all been from time to time accidentally in some situation where we didn't have this, we didn't have coverage, or the battery's dead, or we left it someplace and we can't go get it right now. But to do that with intention, that's a type of discipline.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Yeah, you got to work on that, right?
If I didn't work on it, I would have been right back to where I was like that. I think, the default for everything is the easy path. Like, Tom, you were an electrical engineer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Industrial.
Oh, I thought you were electrical. Okay. Well, like with currents or with water or with heat flow, everything always goes from the point of like highest resistance to lowest resistance. And it's the same way. I mean, the easy path is the easiest thing. I mean, that just happens without you even trying. But to push uphill, I mean, this is pushing uphill. Like you have to want this. And so I don't know how everyone else can manage it. I mean, there's the whole 21 days for a habit. There's different thoughts on that. I personally have said airplane mode is really cool. And so I've been doing every day, like for the work week, I just, when I'm done working, whatever time that is, I'm working myself back to like maybe a 5 o'clock or 5:30, sometimes 4. And I airplane mode my phone. I put it in my desk drawer. And if they need to get hold of me, they'll get me in the morning. So that's one thing I'm doing.
I can tell you, Ken, that
not everyone can do that.
Yeah. I keep my phone on silent. And it is a frustration for many, many people because they want me to respond immediately. And, I'm not good at that because I use time blocking. Hey, Julie, I remember pagers too. Mm-hmm. I use a time blocking model where my time is blocked for the week. And I spend my time doing what I'm supposed to do during that time. And, other people want me to work on their schedule. And so it's not always, because then I have to manage that. I have to manage other people's frustration with not being able to get hold of me. So I do have a couple of people that I allow to come through, but not very many, like 3 people. And that actually works really well. I don't know. I think my first experience was being on a cruise. I think I've been on 7 cruises. And when you're on a cruise, you don't have service. You just don't. It's just not a thing. And so I quickly got used to it. I don't really feel the need to be tethered to other people getting hold of me. We were joking recently, Tom, about, was it you? That we don't answer the phone. If somebody calls, nope. You better send me a text. Warn me that you're going to call me, because otherwise I'm not answering.
Thanks for that tip, Liz. Now I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have the caller ID, if they're in your phone, then you can make the decision. But if you get just like a number shows up on your phone,
no.
Who answers that?
Yeah. Some people do. Some people answer their phone. Not as much now with cell phones, for sure. Right. But they're more people are immune to the need to pick up the phone for a call, since so many people now don't make phone calls, don't even know what this is. Like, no, that's just bad.
I wonder if anyone out there is like, why are they talking about this? And
they are.
I just want to, if you're thinking that, I want to throw this right back. If you're asking that question, I'm guessing you haven't experienced what I just experienced. If David, what David say? I always value whatever David said. He's a super smart guy. Leadership is valuing. Yeah, David's super smart. Leadership is valuing things that bring huge returns. Camping with my dad. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's something that happened also at camp for me. I have 4 boys, 5 kids total, and I'm there with my 3rd son. I had been there with each of my first 2 sons. My first one, I was there a decade ago. I was in the same cabin. So it was kind of glamping in a way, Tom, this particular one. But I was in the same cabin as I was 10 years ago. And while I was there, I have a very vivid memory. Like I like a what do you call that? Photographic memory. Like that's me. I see. I don't like time stands still for me. I can see images from my childhood vividly. And so I'm in one corner of the cabin. I'm looking at the other corner, and I am seeing me and my 6-year-old son so clearly. Me putting him up in his little bunk bed at camp. Me tucking him in, reading him a story, giving him a kiss on his forehead. He's 16 right now. But I saw that memory of 10 years ago, and I'm in that same cabin, and I'm just thinking, 10 years was that. Yeah. 10 years was that. And so what have I done in my life that is so important that I would miss my kids growing up in just little things? And when I thought about some of that, okay, what's going on with this phone? And I, back 20 years ago, I didn't have a cell phone. And like, there's, if you imagine like the glass of water, I saw this just last week at a conference, like people have a certain amount of things they can kind of hold in their bucket. And once the bucket, once you put one drop too much, that's a tipping point, and they just lose it, and they can go off, and it's hard to get back. And people are just putting drops. Or I use another analogy, like the old school scales. I'm thin in my video here about trying to, like the old school scales are like, you put stuff up and they go up and down. Imagine you put grains of rice on that scale, just one grain, boom, boom, boom. No big deal. Every grain of rice is one other commitment. So we're talking about balancing commitments, right? Let's say on one side is what you want to do with your life. You're kind of keeping it balanced, but over here on the other side, you're allowing other people to put grains of rice on your scale, and you keep letting them a grain of rice. More someone like, okay, you got the phone. Okay. So now you're one more person. You're building a large team. Okay. You have 30 people, 50 people that you're responsible for, and they all are hitting you with different things. Every grain. Eventually the scale won't just like go like this. It'll go, one grain of rice makes it go like that. It's called the tipping point. I think Malcolm Gladwell wrote a whole book on it. And when people hit that tipping point, if anyone out there has experienced that, the overwhelm is so great that you can't function. You're like pajamas in bed, don't talk to me. And some people need like some serious therapy. And so the phone, as much as we allow that phone to just kind of own us and allow people to reach us at in real time. Like, do we want people to reach us real time as much as they do? In some cases, maybe we can't. I don't know. I'm not you, whoever's listening to this, but I would just urge you, take a look at that, because what if that was contributing to 40% of the overwhelm you're feeling? And if you could eliminate even half of it, then you would get so much more margin. We all need margin in our life.
Put Liz on there, Tom, because she says that she eliminated up to 60% of all her voicemails.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Having a strategy.
And
so I really like your point, Ken, that almost all entrepreneurs are operating at this so close to the tipping point level, just so close all the time. Somebody else throws a grain of rice on there, and my thinking is that it doesn't go like this. It starts to go like this, and then we throw more rice on the other side real quick. Right? It's like, I gotta catch that, and then somebody else.
That's a good point.
I gotta catch that too. I gotta catch it. So this is constant state of, I'm so busy. I've got so much to do. I've got to catch it. I got to watch it. This whole stress of managing that is really a hard piece, I know, for a lot of people. And so I don't know, how do you like knock the rice off? How do you done with your rice?
It's a choice. It all comes back to, it's a choice. And what you said, Tom, it's discipline. You have it always comes back to the why. If you guys know me, I'm always talking about the why and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it comes back to the why. And I love what David said about, the best values were born when he's camping and with his dad or with his son. I mean, the reason that, like, what's the reason you exist? Like, what's your purpose here? Is it to become the best cleaner, to build the best team? Like, that's awesome. I mean, and I to determine what that is, and maybe allow, how much rice do you want to put on your most important area, and then learn to have a little more balance than the others. For me, it's family. I'm family driven. And so, like, I drew a diagram. I guess it's somewhere here. It's got a little, I journal every day, and it helps me a ton. Actually, I like what Julie just said. Eye-opening when you observe your children and now grandchildren on their phone or tablet. Yeah. Oh, Julie, check this one out. There's a story I heard from this dad, and ironically, he's running a platform to help dads. And he said that he's on his couch and wanting to connect with his son, and his son's like on this little plastic, like, computer looking thing, and he's on it. And he's like, what you doing? He's like, hold on. He says to his dad, he's like,
working.
What are you doing? He's like, hold on a second. Hold on. He's like, what are you doing? Can't you see I'm working, Dad? This is what you do, right? I was like, oh, on the device. And another heartbreaking one is when the little boy comes into the dad's office or the mom's office, and they say to him, so, hey, like, Dad, how much do you make? Oh, I make good money. And no, like, how much do you make?
Oh,
he's like, you heard this one, right? He's like, I make, he's like, no, I mean, like, how much, like, in an hour do you make? And Dad's like, oh, I guess I make about $50 an hour, or whatever he says, $50 an hour. And then the boy goes, okay, I'll be right back. Goes up to his piggy bank and gets as much money as he's got. Maybe he's like $15. He says, Daddy, I got $15. Can I buy about 20 minutes of your time? Right? Because I'm like, ouch. So I hear stuff like this, and that hits my heart. And so for me, it's not hard. I purposely want to have my commitments balanced.
I think I'm really hard-hearted, because if my kid came up to me with that, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, dude. 25 minutes. I'll give you extra. You get a bonus. Good job thinking about the money right there. Love it.
You would actually send him a Calendly link and say, go ahead and schedule something.
You know, like you're joking, but I do send my son Calendly links. I do send my kids. I send my grandbaby. Yeah. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you guys set up some time with me. I really want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Make sure the credit card doesn't bounce.
I try not to. You know, in my house, we have a hug rule. You know, the kid, anytime you want to hug dad, doesn't matter what I'm doing, you can come hug dad, whatever, just come hug me. That's the hug rule. They all know that. And
that's good.
They can walk in. I mean,
like it.
My kids are more important than anyone else in my wife, my kids. And so I'm just wired this way. This is how I am. And so
yeah,
I get to work from home most of the week, and I'm here. Today I did some work, and I went to the pool for like an hour or so, and I may or may not be still in my bathing suit. I cannot confirm nor deny that. But I was diving off of a diving board with my 13-year-old daughter about 10 minutes before this call started. So from here up, I am business.
Fun.
That's all it takes.
Hey, that's the whole point of these calls, right? That's what I think everybody's got something like that going on these days, except maybe Tom.
Yeah.
He's always like, Tom, do you have shorts on?
Maybe.
He loves shorts and flip-flops. So I'm thinking.
Let's see. Oh, look at that.
He always wears those flip-flops. I figured he was in those shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Well, I won't show my jammies, even though they're cute.
So I am technically barefooted.
Barefoot. Me too.
Because I went from the pool in my towel to the car, home, never even got my shoes on.
I am at home and I'm still barefoot. All right.
Is this part of the direction you want to go? Because I mean, it's your call. I'm just trying to think of things that have really connected with me personally, and I'm hoping that it hits some hearts that are out there.
I think this is good, and I think this is useful because you're talking primarily to people who own and run their own businesses, and there's a certain amount of you develop habits, and there's a certain amount of intrinsic gratification of getting on that flywheel, and this is that the rush, and it's not necessarily good, and you're probably missing a lot of things that are important that you aren't even aware of, and just stopping for a minute and reflecting. I think that's time well spent.
And I don't think anybody can argue that you are going to be your best leader when you are your best self. And how many of us can say that when we're under pressure, we're getting the best out of people? I mean, that is just not. I know, Liz, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, because it's early here. We have lots more time.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that message. I didn't say anything.
Like ignoring it, the braggarts over there. But I do think that people need to find. So I don't really like the term of like people talk about work-life balance. I don't really like that term because when I think of balance, I think of things as kind of being even, and that isn't really how things work. You have to. Sometimes it's not a matter of, okay, I worked for 6 hours, so now I need to play with my kids for 6 hours, and now I need to have 6 hours of personal time. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Here, clean the toilet.
Yeah.
Good job, Liz. Good job.
I totally agree. I mean, I have 5 kids, and I see this kind of in a micro sense here with my kids. Some of them, I need to give a lot of time for them to feel, wow, I got my time with dad. Others, I can just like an hour of my time and they're like filled up. So everyone's got like an additional, like an emotion, a different emotional tank, the love languages and all the different things. And so I have started to, I don't want to say like I'm optimizing my life, but in a way I'm an engineer. So I know that, okay, if I do, one-on-one time with this child for an hour or 2 hours, they're like totally filled up, but this one needs 4. This one needs a whole like time out with dad or with mom. And so in that sense, just from my own family, I think if you look at the areas of your life, if you look at, well, hey, like, so here's what I was going to say. Like I drew this picture, just like this wheel, and not to see what's in it. but in the center, I write the word me.
can.
Yeah, I wrote the word me, and also my health is in there. And then I put all the areas of my life that I believe are significant. And I've got church things. I got each of my family members in there. I've got some extended family things I'm dealing with. I've got health. I've got different business projects I've got like it's all in there. And for me to say, okay, every single one of them gets, there's 8 of them, 8 of them here. Everyone gets 12.5% of my time. It doesn't work that way. No. But some of them I may need to push pause on this one for the next 3 months because these other ones have they really need my time and attention more. Like if you're at a heavy growth stage of your business, you may really need to focus a lot more of that time right there. But once you hit a point where you can back off a bit, you don't necessarily have to stay at that level. Hey, matter of fact, if you don't dial back and put time in other places, that's where you start getting out of quote unquote balance. Like that's when you start not sleeping well and you're not taking care of yourself. Maybe you start gaining weight. You don't have the time with your family. Maybe there's charitable or church organizations you really need to be doing, but you're not. And so there's seasons that you can operate in. And I don't know the answers, but I'm navigating this with you guys. We're all on this path together.
Yeah. I really like that idea of it's more like seasons, right? Because there is a time for different things. And I guess when I'm thinking about it, I like to think more in terms of like individual measures. Like I have somebody in one of our groups that really values, similar to you, Ken, family time and really values time with her children. And so she intentionally, which I love, I'm so proud of her, she intentionally designed her life and her business around the idea that she is going to not work in that business. Does she have to sometimes? Yes, absolutely she does. But for the most part, she takes summers off to be with her kids, and she spends the majority of her time doing what she loves and doing what she cares about. Has her business grown as fast as some other people's businesses that didn't have this priority? No, it didn't grow as fast. But is it growing? Is it successful?
Yeah.
Is she feeling balanced? She absolutely is, because she needs that time.
Yeah, so. I mean, we're talking about as quality of life, and how do you measure your quality of life? Some people are absolutely wired for building. They are builders. They love to create, build, and they will exhaust every second to do that. And what's David say? Engineers that have a heart. Oh man, there's not many of us, I guess, right? But I mean, we're all wired differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Ken.
There is one thing I'm thinking. I think we were going to dive in a little bit of like personal accountability. There is an interesting tool that you've probably seen this, and it's a great way to connect all of these different things in our life to an accountability. Like, well, because it's like, okay, so self-leadership, great. That's a word I'm just gonna pronounce around. Like, great, I have self-leadership. What does that mean? Well, I'm balanced in all these areas. Therefore, I have been able to fill up my own bucket so that I can pour on other people. Because if you can't fill up your own bucket, if you don't take care of yourself, because a lot of cleaners tell me, I don't have time for me time. That's a problem. We don't have time for me time. Ooh. How is that going to get filled up? How are you going to help others if you can't fill up yourself? And getting up early. There's so many books, like The Miracle Morning is a great book. You can do all kinds of like exercises in the morning. Get up 15 minutes earlier. Start journaling. Read it. I know, Liz, you're reading all the time, so you don't count because you're the anomaly.
Tom too.
Tom too.
Same as me.
Yeah,
Liz reads all the time too.
Liz reads like 4 books a week. I don't know how you do it. You're like, and your brain works completely different than the most of us. You're like a robot.
They're not all workbooks though.
I know, but it's still, you read. So like just 15 minutes. Find a way to get something in the morning that's going to pour into you before you just rush out the door with your coffee and go save the world, because you need to have some wellness over yourself. And so this accountability that you can use, now I don't have it in front of me, but just going back to this illustration I had of like, see these, let's say you identified 5-6 things around your center. And then you just kind of gave yourself here's the engineer, right? You kind of give yourself a grade, like, okay, in this area, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the end of the week, how did I do in this area? Oh, I got a 5. How did I do in this area? I got a 3. I got a 1. It's hard to do this backwards, a 5. And then you connect all those lines. You've probably seen this exercise before. And it's called the wheel. And let's say you wanted balance and you connect, let's say you have all 3s. When you connect those lines, you have a circle, you have a wheel, and that wheel spins. Now, and it rolls and it's not wobbly. If you have a couple 5s, a bunch of 1s, you got this crazy looking wheel, and it's like Fred Flintstone, like boom, 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 boom. So it's not exactly going. If you have all 5s, you're like this super achiever, just a bigger wheel, and you're rolling faster. If you're all 1s, you're rolling slower, but you're still rolling. And so at the end of each week, as a personal accountability tool, you could pick 4 or 5 things like, hey, how am I doing in family? How am I doing in my health? How am I doing in working on me? How am I doing in my business? How am I doing in my relationships in my business? Whatever those things are that you genuinely want to have balance with, put them on a wheel. And at the end of the week, give yourself a grade. And then that grade, you could absolutely incorporate this into your teams and promote and encourage personal wellness and balance throughout your teams. I can't see it hurting.
Yeah. I think it's good timing too right now, Ken. Your employees are nervous. There's a lot of unrest, and there are a lot of people that are medicated and that are struggling. And so the simple act of measuring things can give you control over my full focus planner. I used to love my full focus planner until I got my Remarkable. See, Ken, you need a Remarkable, Ken.
Oh.
Yeah, you need one because you can draw in it. And it takes everything and sends it to type. All right, so off the Remarkable. Shoot, I forgot what I was saying. Got myself off track there.
I'm sold. I want one.
it was probably a lie. That's what my mom would say.
Look at Liz. She's like, "Ooh, I want one too."
They're so amazing, you guys.
They're like $600 though. Everything.
No, $400.
$400, and then you need to pay $200 for the pen.
No, that's it, all inclusive. And they come.
One of these.
Yeah,
I feel so silly.
And they come with extra nibs.
Nibs.
They're very nice. They do.
Is that the technical term? Well, like if I Google that, is that what? I'm not going to Google that, by the way.
Don't Google that.
No.
Put a filter on your search if you do.
Remarkable nibs. There you go, guys. Yeah. Anyway. I wanted to talk about. Yes, they're so nice. Isaac, get one. I'm deleting Facebook off my phone right now. It's a time waster. You lie, Linda. You are not. You have work to do.
Oh my gosh. Don't even start me on Facebook. I had no Facebook for this 5 days too. Oh my goodness. I love being off Facebook. And I'm doing that more too. So if you try to reach out to me, I don't get back to you for a while because I am doing a digital detox of Facebook. That's the term for this, digital detox.
Digital detox, yeah. I did a program with, who is that guy? He was at convention, not last year, obviously, but the year before. He was live. Do you guys remember? Darren Hardy. I did his insane productivity program, and one of the months is this digital detox thing, and I kind of took it to heart. So I don't do a lot of. I'm on Facebook every day, but that's just because I run my MMA groups are on Facebook. Otherwise, I would not be on there. And I did want to talk about accountability real quick because your Remarkable is 600.
I thought so.
Sorry,
I thought it was 600.
Maybe I'm lying to myself. I could swear it was 400.
You got the West Coast discount.
Tom, you have one. How much did you spend?
No, this is just this goes with an iPad.
Oh, with an iPad. Okay. So, all right. So I wanted to talk about accountability because accountability is kind of one of my passion words. A lot of times when people are thinking about accountability, they're thinking about being accountable to someone else. And that to me has never really made any sense. You need to be accountable to yourself for what you want to do for yourself. And the whole idea of being accountable is, what good does it do to be accountable to someone else if you're not accountable to yourself? Now, if you're using other people to help you be more accountable to yourself, that makes really good sense to me. But
Yeah.
I don't really understand the idea of being accountable to someone else.
I
That
think
makes sense.
I think the latter version of your explanation is exactly right. We're not being accountable to someone else because that other person, like, they're like, oh great, I'm glad you got it done. But by using someone else, they are holding you accountable to what you want to get done. I got some interesting examples of how.
Okay, wait. Before we go off this real quick.
Okay.
I think the place where I see this get misused really often is with employees. We want to hold employees accountable by showing them what they've done wrong and making them do it the right way. And that is completely against the idea of accountability, because accountability is about holding yourself responsible and accountable. So instead of holding other people accountable, we need to teach them and
hold themselves.
Support them. Yeah, support them in being accountable. All right, go ahead.
Accountability is not something that is forced on a person. Accountability is chosen by the person. And if I want accountability, then I ask for accountability, and I ask I want to get these things done. So hey, can you help me by checking in on me every day, or force me to send you an email every day, or whatever that is. But if I say to someone, I'm going to hold you accountable, well, they never asked for it. I mean, that you're right. I don't think that's accountability being used properly. That's like just forcing someone to do something.
Tom's dying to say something.
There's some other things that go along with the accountability, though.
Yeah.
Like consequences and outcomes, and you ultimately you have to be accountable for yourself. But if you aren't, then there's consequences and outcomes that are going to manifest themselves that aren't necessarily going to be to your liking. So it's ultimately your choice. So from the employee standpoint, for instance, it's like, you've got to be accountable. And if you aren't, then at some point we're probably going to have to agree that we aren't going to continue to be working in this relationship.
Yeah, we're not going to be working together because there's still a requirement of the job. And if you can't hold yourself to that standard, then you can't work here, because I can't hold you to the standards. I've got my own job to do, and I'm holding myself I'm holding myself accountable, and that's a big enough job.
I see like two different kind of boxes, or two different versions. There's like the minimum stuff, like, okay, these are the requirements that, as you're talking about, and someone needs to take care of that themselves. And if they don't, there's obviously consequences. When I'm thinking of accountability, I'm thinking like beyond that, like in like concentric circles, like this first one. Yeah. These are things that, like, boundaries, like you've got to do these things, right, to maintain your position in life. But then like the next circle out, this next concentric circle it's like your dreams. So let's say these employees, like, there's an awesome book out there called The Dream Manager. Have you guys ever read that book, The Dream Manager?
Ken, you should check out my program. You can find it on cleaningprofitbuilders.com.
Okay.
And it is a Dream Manager program.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Kathy Gage created it, and I implement it. It's a great program. Somebody just reached out to me yesterday. She had gone through the process. She's like, all right, I'm doing this with all my employees, Liz. I need to get the program.
How's it going so far? Are you getting tremendous feedback? Is it too new to tell?
Everyone who does it loves it. We did it at, what was the event that we did it at? Do you remember, Tom? A couple of years ago, obviously before COVID. It was the one
it was
the alumni event.
It was week 2 of the foundations 2 week
extravaganza. It was the alumni event. Yeah. And so we did it with, we walked everybody through it. These are great business owners, smart women. The woman that I'm talking about right now is Trisha Lake. She's going to implement with all of her people. Anybody that knows Trisha knows she's a powerhouse, and she is really a giving kind of a boss, really supportive. Anyway, everybody that has gone through the program, really feels impacted in a strong way by the program. It's been around for a while. So since 2017, I think.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, you should check it out. I think you'd love it.
So the book, Kathy was doing this program prior to 2017, right?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, maybe it was before 2017.
Did she build the program based on the book?
Yeah. Well, not based on the book, but because of the idea of the book.
Okay.
Right. So
ironically, the book was
and
ironically the case study in the book is a janitorial company. Right.
They had story around them. The reason why I'm shifting away from that is because anybody that knows the story, that janitorial company kind of failed. And
the actual company was around failed?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like steering everybody.
Let's just edit this part of the call. Ken never said that book.
Moving right along.
Anyway,
moving along.
Idea, though.
Isaac has a question here in chat. He wants to know, how do we reward or implement accountability from one of your extra creative employees? So, I'm just kind of extrapolating, trying to figure out somebody who's extra creative maybe wants to, assert their creativity in ways that times maybe that doesn't really fit policy procedure and the rules that were there. I need the latitude to express myself and be creative. I'm assuming maybe that's
Isaac. He's saying reward accountability.
Yeah, he's posing it in a good light. Like this is something he wants his people to do.
Okay. So this is what we're hearing, Isaac. You want your people to be creative, and you want to be able to reward them for that, for being accountable to themselves and with this creativity, but not when it's going against what we're all working toward. It's kind of what I'm reading.
So, I mean, it's initiative, right? People to take an initiative and creativity. Could it tie back to the, kind of that Kathy's program you're talking about, where if this employee, they say, you go and have a meeting with them and they, I really do want to be able to pay off my house, or I want to buy a house, or I want to have this for my family. And you set up some kind of a dream, a goal that this particular employee wants. And now you set up some kind of a cadence on accountability. Well, listen, okay, here's what you want. And then as the entrepreneur or as the manager, here's what you could do to get that. That's absolutely an opportunity. If you do the A, B, and C, D, that includes creativity. That includes these different things you could do. And now they're going after a specific goal or dream and so the reward is them hitting their goal or dream, right? And creativity is the method that would get them there. But I think you'd go back and start with, well, what do you want? Why do you want it? And then let them make those decisions. What do you think?
Well,
I'm not exactly sure about the question. So
it's in the context of an employee. So I'm thinking that this would be in the work environment, the being creative, doing their job, and
tying the word accountability in there is making it seem like
it's
rewarding accountability.
That the
except
accountability is not.
except that he's saying reward for accountability. So another way of taking that is that I want somebody is being very accountable to their job, and not only are they doing what they're supposed to do, but they're being more creative, and they're doing even more than what they're supposed to. They're going above and beyond, and that you want to reward for that. So
if those above and beyond is creating something better for your business.
Yeah. So maybe give us a little clarity on what you want, Isaac, and we can probably tell you. We all three run our businesses in different ways. We can probably give you some good ideas, suggestions. I'm sure we have people. Actually, I know we do have people on the Facebook Live that also run strong businesses. Linda actually is a really good example of somebody that runs a very employee-centric business and does a lot for her employees. So she might have something really great for you as well. I'm sorry that David had to leave. You see, he had a hip replacement. Wow.
Yeah. He, I think that's his second one. I think he had one of those a year or so ago as well.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
What's Liz's question here?
I can give you my take on your question, Liz. Suggestion boxes can be successful, but they have to be executed in a very, very specific way, because if they're not, they will just end up being one of two things: a place to complain, or a place full of cobwebs. So one of those two things, if you're not careful. So suggestion boxes, anything that is anonymous is going to get you less stellar results. So you didn't say anonymous, but a lot of times suggestion boxes are anonymous. So you want to have people put a name on there. Reward is great, but the big reward from the suggestion box is that my idea gets action taken on it. And you can't always take action on everything, but you can't always implement everything, but you can always take action on everybody's ideas. So that's sort of the key there. You have to be careful with them.
Can I bring up kind of a accountability topic here? I mean, we're answering questions. This is something I'm thinking about. We're kind of going off on the road here of accountability from employee to boss. Maybe just like look at us, all the entrepreneurs on here, and when does accountability really work well? And what I have seen in my own life and with others that just had the blessing to be around, it's when there's someone that you look up to, you admire, you respect them, and that you want to perform for that person. It could be, in some cases, a family member. It could be usually a mentor. It could be a kind of someone in a cohort that you're a running buddy and you're growing your business at the same time, but you respect them, you look up to them, and you set a goal together. Hey, we're going to get to X amount of revenue. We're going to get to whatever by this date. And when you do that, because that mutual respect and admiration for each other, every day they're going to connect with a quick Facebook message or a text. Hey, this is what I got done today. How about you? And every day that they're connecting, they're building that relationship, they're urging each other on. And then you get that Clydesdale horse, that analogy, right? Where like one horse pulls like 3,000 pounds, but you put two together, they pull 15,000, whatever the numbers are. It's like a 5 or 10 times multiplier. But when you put two people, one person doing their work and chugging along, but when you put accountability, really effective accountability in place, like two people running side by side, they get so much more out of it. They go faster because they don't want to let the other person down. They would rather let themselves down than let the other person down. It's really an amazing accountability when it's working is incredible. And there's so many ways to do accountability. It can be, like I said, like a side to side where it's a running buddy. It could be from you to a mentor. Hey, I was able to get this mentor's time. He's going to hold me. He's going to allow me to go after my goal. And he says, hey, email me once a week. I want to hear your update. I'm not going to mess up and not get a good report to him every Friday because I respect and look up to him. If it's someone you don't respect and admire, you don't care, and you're not going to show up. You're not going to do the accountability thing. But that's a really important piece. I just wanted to toss that out there for anyone, for you guys to kick around, or for anyone that's just wondering how this can be effective.
Especially if you know you struggle to hold yourself accountable, then getting a buddy is a great way to do it. Have you guys heard of the 12-week year?
Yeah, Brian Moran.
Heard of that? Yeah. So in that book, they talk about what they call WHAM meetings, right? So I think they're called WHAM meetings, weekly accountability meetings.
Like WHAM?
Not no H, no WHAM. Weekly accountability meetings, and they're similar to, we have what we call a Monday check-in in our groups, and they're all about you being accountable to yourself, but we're there as witness. So we're there for you to help shore you up and to make sure that the spotlight is shown on what you're doing so that you can get the props and the support if you're not meeting your own thing. So that buddy thing does work really well.
It does.
Yeah, it does. But rarely does it work long term if you're not doing it for yourself. If you're doing it just for the other person, you're what we have found is people will begin to fudge on the truth and what they've done, and they'll start, especially if there's no way to prove or disprove whether or not they did it. So I needed that. I joined the Courtney Wisely group. Yay. And does it help, Liz? Is that helping? I'm guessing so. A lot of people really love that support that an accountability group can provide.
Yeah. I totally
feel like they don't need it, but
I totally agree. The fudging, and because I've seen that too, but it goes back to where we started, is that, oh, look at that. Oh, that is so nice of you to say that. Thank you, Liz. It does go back to having a personal accountability to you. Like, integrity is an important word. I think if you have two people with integrity that are self-motivated, self-directed, having self-leadership, that are caring, tie this all back together. They're taking care of themselves. They're balancing, and they're doing all these things. And then they put a goal out there, and both people are in that position, and they're both going for this lofty goal. Now you can get a really powerful accountability between the two, because you've got two high caliber, self-motivated, self-driven, self-leading people. And you team up them, that's arm in arm, locking arms together, and you're going to walk through brick. I mean, these people, like, this is powerful.
It's very powerful. I really agree with that statement. As long as everybody's on the same page, everybody grows, right? With that shared accountability. Well, Tom, we are top of the hour.
And it's Wednesday.
We made it.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday. Yay. It was a great call, Ken. Thank you so much.
So tell us about your podcast, Ken, for, people who want to tune in. How can they find you?
Yeah, Smart Cleaning School. Just go to smartcleaningschool.com. Or you can find it on all the major podcast players. I was at a podcast conference last week, matter of fact. And I was around 2,000 other podcasters.
Wow.
So I will just say, if you want to hear an amazing podcast, go listen to Readers or Leaders with Liz Trotter on the Smart Cleaning School. It was amazing. So on the show, I do a bunch of solo episodes going through. Yeah, there you go. And you can go right to the podcast tab, which is up top.
Up at the top on the right.
Yep, is a podcast tab, first one in. And that'll bring you to the list. People are putting the links are in there. But I do some solo episodes, just like business mindset, the stuff we're talking about. I'll share updates on my own personal business. And the thing I'm really enjoying doing are these interviews with visionaries in our industry. So, Liz, I've already had a chance to interview you. Maybe on the spot now that I have Tom. Tom, I'd love to get you on the show sometime. He can't say no. He's live.
No, I'm good, man. Send me an invite.
Yeah,
tell me
you want to jump on it? Yeah, I mean, and we don't talk X's and O's on cleaning, do we, Liz? We dive into topics that are just.
But he's a lot different person than people think he is. I think he'll be a great guest. I think you will love having him. It'll be a
I think it'd be awesome.
well listened to.
I've got a reputation. We can't mess that up. Come on now.
Oh, it'll be a lot of fun. And I never know what the titles are until after I do the show. I mean, yours are so obvious. We talked about reading for about 40 minutes, and it was so good. And I've got so many people saying that I really like that interview with Liz Trotter. I'm like, well, she's amazing. You should like that one.
All right. Well, good. I guess maybe I need to tell people about it too. You told me about it. You gave it to me. I listened to it. It's hard to listen to yourself though. I never watched these either afterwards. So, all right.
Well,
we got it on there. Smart Cleaning School.
Past the top of the hour. Ken, thank you. We very much appreciate you joining us today. Always fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to your people.
And hit me up with some times. I'd love to do your podcast.
All right. You said it. You everyone heard him. Tom Stewart will be on the Smart Cleaning School sometime in the year 2021.
So don't forget about your daily joke.
Is it bad? Should I get off? Is it bad or is it good?
I was thinking it was to you. Do we have a daily? We don't have a daily joke.
Do we need one?
Do I have one?
I thought you might. What's our daily joke, Liz? Tell us about it. Maybe we have one and we didn't know. Maybe we think we're being serious, but it's a joke.
Oh, Liz asked about a daily joke.
Yeah.
So we'll be back Monday.
That was funny. That was
5 o'clock Eastern. You guys have a good rest of your week. Thanks again, Ken. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Ken. Bye, y'all.